Today is Wednesday, November 30th. We have an update about the most high-profile and serious criminal case so far connected to the January 6th Capitol riot. The verdict is in. And the Senate has passed landmark legislation about same-sex marriage. We'll explain what happens next. Plus, a big win for Team USA at the World Cup, another controversial change at Twitter, and what to expect tonight as the world's most famous Christmas tree comes alive. Those stories and more news next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. As many as 40 million Americans were at risk from a massive storm system stretching from Texas to South Carolina. And the threats from the storms, especially in Mississippi and Alabama, lasted until early this morning. Dozens of tornado alerts were sent out across the South, and multiple tornadoes have already been confirmed, along with heavy rain, strong winds, and hail the size of tennis balls in some places. Emergency responders in Mississippi said a number of homes were damaged, including at least one that had its roof completely lifted off. And reports said some people were trapped in a grocery store, but later made it out safely. A local official in Louisiana said at least 2 people were hurt inside their home when a tornado got too close. We should learn many more details about the strength of these tornadoes and the full extent of any damage or injuries later today. The storm system is expected to weaken now and bring rain to the Northeast. A jury found the leader of the far-right extremist group Oath Keepers guilty. It's the most high-profile and serious criminal case from the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The founder of the group, Stuart Rhodes, along with 4 other members, were all on trial facing rare seditious conspiracy charges, essentially accusing them of trying to overturn the government by trying to prevent the peaceful transition of power from one president to the next. Now, after nearly 2 months of trial and 3 days of jury deliberations, all 5 of them were found guilty of felony charges. The only Rhodes and 1 other member were convicted of seditious conspiracy specifically. Rhodes testified that the Oath Keepers did not intend to storm the Capitol, and his lawyers had argued they only went to D.C. to protect former President Trump's supporters. But the jury agreed with prosecutors that what happened on January 6th was not spontaneous, but an armed rebellion that Rhodes and other Oath Keepers had been planning. Rhodes now faces up to 20 years in prison. His attorney says they plan to appeal. 4 more Oath Keepers members will be on trial for seditious conspiracy next month, and members of another group, Proud Boys, are also due in court next month on that same rare charge, including that group's leader. Some top Republican leaders are publicly reacting now to former President Trump having dinner with a white nationalist, although they're saying slightly different things about it. As you know, Trump has made it official that he will run for president in 2024, but he's facing backlash now for going to dinner with not only rapper Ye, or Kanye West, who recently made anti-Semitic remarks, but also white nationalist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes. Former Vice President Mike Pence, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, and House Republican Leader Kevin McCarthy all expressed criticism about that meeting. Though McConnell seemed to go the furthest, saying anyone who meets with anti-Semites or white supremacists is, quote, highly unlikely to ever be elected president of the United States. In response, Trump went on Fox News and called McConnell a, quote, loser for our nation. As for McCarthy, he condemned Fuentes' ideology, but also seemed to defend Trump more. Pence said Trump should apologize, but that he doesn't think Trump is actually anti-Semitic. Trump has said he didn't know who Fuentes was, and had he expressed his views during dinner, they would not have been accepted. Well, the Senate has now passed bipartisan landmark legislation to solidify the rights of same-sex and interracial couples to get married. The Respect for Marriage Act forces states to recognize those marriages. Yes, same-sex and interracial marriages are legal already, but only because of Supreme Court rulings that could technically be overturned. So this bill would make sure these marriages are enshrined in federal law. The bill needed 60 votes to pass in the Senate, and it got 61. A dozen Republicans joined all Democrats to get it passed. The vote shows how the once politically divisive issue of gay marriage is now getting more bipartisan support. Now the bill moves on to the House, where a similar bill has already passed before, and President Biden says he is ready to sign it into law. All right, we have more news for you still coming up. But first, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you ever thought about what the headlines of your life are? The reality is they are probably always changing. Career changes, family and relationship changes, location changes, the list goes on. But here's the thing. We don't have to go through these ups and downs of life without a sort of guide. Therapists can be that person for you. I've experienced it, and it's really helpful. They can pinpoint the cause of certain emotions or behaviors and present helpful strategies to cope or to just be more of the you want to be. As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. Plus, it's affordable. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist. If things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. It couldn't be simpler. No waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/newsworthy. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Well, Team USA is moving on to the knockout stage of the World Cup. They won against Iran 1-0. After tying their first two games, the stakes could not have been higher for the U.S. It was win or go home. The match was so intense that it trended on social media the entire time it was going on, especially the last 9 minutes while Team USA was trying to hold on to their lead. The U.S. is now headed into the World Cup's round of 16. Team USA plays their next game against the Netherlands on Saturday. But it's not all good news out of the World Cup in Qatar. In an interview with British journalist Piers Morgan, a top official from the country revealed that 400 to 500 migrant workers died while building everything Qatar needed to host the World Cup. The death toll is significantly higher than anything officials previously have admitted. Even before the World Cup began, human rights groups had been criticizing Qatar for alleged violations. When Qatar was awarded this year's World Cup back in 2010, they had none of the stadiums, buildings, or accommodations needed to host the tournament. The country brought in thousands of people to work over the last decade, often in 120-degree heat. Last year, The Guardian reported 6,500 migrant workers had died in Qatar since tournament preparations began, although it's unclear how many were directly related to preparing for the soccer tournament. Regardless, activists are now calling for investigations into possible human rights abuses. Twitter will no longer enforce its COVID-19 misinformation policy. The company posted that update on its website, essentially ending the policy that was first put in place back in 2020. It's another example of how Elon Musk is bringing changes to the social media company he took control of just a month ago. While there wasn't more of an explanation from Twitter about this change, Musk has said before that increasing freedom of speech on the platform is a top priority for him. He's also said the company should only intervene to comply with local laws. But critics say this move to not enforce COVID-19 misinformation policies could lead to a surge in false claims about the virus and vaccines, and could even lead to people dying if they're not given reliable health information. The Wall Street Journal cites one study that found 24 of the biggest offenders of spreading misinformation are now seeing significant increases in engagement on the platform. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Snap all still do have policies meant to remove false or misleading info connected to the pandemic. It's that time of year for all the year-end recaps. And for the first time, YouTube and Apple Music are giving you a look back at your music listening habits and the top music trends before Spotify. The Spotify Wrap tool has become a popular and highly anticipated yearly event for Spotify users. But this year, Apple and YouTube are doing more to be part of that end-of-year conversation. With YouTube's Recap, Apple's Replay, and coming soon, Spotify's Wrapped, you can now have your go-to playlist of your favorite songs from 2022. Industry experts say it's all to grab some of the attention and excitement that comes from users sharing their listening habits with everyone online. Aside from checking out personal music trends, Apple Music is also releasing worldwide trends. The Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber's hit song Stay reached the very top of Apple's global song chart. The catchy Disney tune from the movie Encanto, We Don't Talk About Bruno, was the song with the most widely read lyrics. And Bad Bunny became the first Latin artist to have the biggest album of the year on the Apple platform. The latest shopping numbers are in for the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, and despite initial predictions, they are record-breaking. The National Retail Federation says nearly 197 million Americans shopped either in-store or online from Thanksgiving Day through Cyber Monday. That's the most since the Retail Federation began tracking consumer shopping habits, and it's up 10% since last year. Adobe Analytics also updated its numbers, saying Cyber Monday shoppers alone spent $11.3 billion, setting a record both for the day and the year so far. Adding it all up, analysts say their expectations for this year were shattered. Many were anticipating a spending slowdown and much smaller numbers, mainly due to economic concerns and inflation raising prices on almost everything, draining spending budgets. But in reality, consumer demand seems higher than ever, especially when there's deep holiday discounts available. The Christmas season kicks off officially for many Americans tonight, and that's because tonight is the official lighting of the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree in New York City. The 82-foot-tall, spectacularly decorated tree has become a symbol for Christmas in America. If you want to watch the lighting ceremony, it'll be shown on NBC tonight starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. A number of celebrities and performers are taking part in the holiday extravaganza. Gwen Stefani, Blake Shelton, and Alicia Keys are just some of the musical acts. The Muppets from Sesame Street will be there, and of course, the iconic Radio City Rockettes with their high-kicking dancing. The lighting and decorating of the Rockefeller Center tree has been a holiday tradition since 1933. Over 50,000 LED lights will line the tree, spread around massive ornaments hung on its branches. It's all topped off with a star built with 3 million crystals and weighing a hefty 900 pounds. Beginning tonight, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree will be lit every day from now through New Year's Eve. Well, that's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor. I had the best experience with canvasprints.com. It was super fast and easy to order my canvas prints using some photos right off my phone, and then I was really impressed by the high-quality prints that arrived at my door in just days. I ordered a beautiful photo wall display, but I'm likely to go back because I realize you can get custom photo puzzles, and I love that idea for the holidays. Yep, you can get everything from Christmas ornaments to custom mouse pads for unique and memorable gifts for everyone on your list. They have quick shipping, but if you do want to make sure your gift is delivered by Christmas, order by December 13th. And now is a great time anyway because canvasprints.com has a special offer just for our listeners. Go to canvasprints.com and use the code Newsworthy25 to get 25% off your entire order of canvas prints, canvas wall displays, metal prints, photo tiles, photo blankets and pillows, and much more. Find the perfect holiday gift for everyone on your list and save with this amazing offer. That's canvasprints.com, and don't forget to use the code Newsworthy25 for 25% off your entire order. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. So even though more companies are telling their employees to return to the office and the number of workers actually back at their desks are up from just last year, the numbers are actually still well below pre-pandemic levels. And fewer in-person employees means less need for big office space. With building leases coming up for renewal, lots of companies are downsizing and moving out. It's a trend that's sticking landlords with millions of square feet of empty, vacant space. The New York Times cites more hybrid work, layoffs, and more. More than 100,000 technology workers in total have been laid off this year from companies like Meta, Lyft, and others. Economists don't see the shrinking office trend changing anytime soon. The value of U.S. office buildings could plunge by nearly 40% in the coming years, erasing almost $500 billion in value. All right, thank you so much for joining us as part of your daily routine. We will catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Episodes are available by 4 a.m. Until then, have a great day.